The Pokemon franchise has been popular for more than 25 years, and that's not an easy accomplishment. There aren't many other franchises, especially video game franchises, that have survived for this long with these many games. Pokemon has always been a beloved franchise, but you can't deny some of the problems the games have nowadays. There's a general consensus of sorts that the game started to dip in quality mainly after the transition to 3D. People have said a lot of reasons too for the dip in quality, like the graphics and performance, the originality of the franchise, the battles, handholding and other things. There's also the problem of the games not having the national dex, which is a big problem for many fans. There have been many spin-offs that have provided a completely new way to experience the Pokemon world, and fans have loved most of them. People really love the fighting mechanics in Pokemon Stadium where Pokemon actually attacked each other, whereas in the main games, most of the moves look like someone added a keyframe with some green screen effects. There's also Pokemon XD, Pokemon Tournament, which is just Mortal Kombat but for Pokemon, Pokemon Snap and New Pokemon Snap, which fans really loved. And there were quite a few specific features fans loved too, like riding the Pokemon in Let's Go, and some features in Pokemon Legends Arceus. But the problem is, these are just spin-offs. It's clear that the features in these games were loved by fans, but the Pokemon company doesn't care. I'm not saying they have to completely change the mainline games, but adding a couple of these new features could be nice. Sure, it might be easier to stick with what works for your main money-making series and to try new things for spin-offs, but that shouldn't come at the expense of your main games being kind of mediocre. But what I want to talk about is mainly the formula of these mainline Pokemon games, and the originality of each game. Like I said, many spin-offs have completely changed the formula, and there are still new features in mainline Pokemon games. But still, you can't deny that these mainline games are becoming a bit stale. The newer features just don't feel innovative enough. This maybe isn't a fair comparison, but if Breath of the Wild can look this good and have these many cool features, couldn't Pokemon games have some of that too? I know that people are hating on the newer Pokemon designs a lot too, but I don't think that's entirely warranted. Sure, this is just a flamingo, some designs are too humanoid, Clink is just 2 gears, Vanillite is literally just ice cream, and Lovedust looks like it was drawn by Jimmy from kindergarten. With that said, I think there are many new super cool designs too. Here are just a few. Now let me try to make a comparison between Bugsnax and Pokemon to show how Bugsnax does some things better. The thing is, Bugsnax and Pokemon are kind of similar games in some ways. Both games have you going around the world catching these creatures to add to your collection. In one game you eat them, in the other one you train them and send them to die. I know that there are a lot of differences between the games, but I feel like some of the core mechanics are similar, and I'm just gonna be using these comparisons to say how you could improve the Pokemon games. First of all, just add voice acting. I don't think it's that difficult, and it's not like the company doesn't have enough money. This could really improve the game and add a lot of character to, well, the characters. The cutscenes with real dialogue instead of just text could really show the tone of these. Here's an example made by a fan.
The heights. That's what I'd say.
Well, no wonder. But no need to be scared if we go together.
Oh!
How does that logic work?
Get on!
Secondly, it's not a fair comparison, but I feel like Pokemon could really take something from the catching mechanics in Bugsnax. Each Bugsnax actually has its own behavior and it interacts with the world and other Bugsnax in different ways, and some only appear at certain times. There is some semblance of this in the Pokemon games, but Bugsnax really shows how interesting it is. Anyways, because of this, capturing these Bugsnax is actually a challenge. You don't just attack it repeatedly until it's weak enough to capture. You have to use the resources at your disposal to capture them. Maybe you could use your own Pokemon to help catch new ones. This mechanic could add an element of strategy and puzzle solving to the game, which Pokemon has been lacking in some ways. Like I said, the designs of the Pokemon are still great. They've made nearly 900 of them, so obviously some are gonna look worse than others, and it's all subjective anyways. But the Bugsnax designs are also really good. Sure, this is just a jar of pickles, but it has some kind of movement that makes it interesting. And Bunker is amazing. Now let's talk about the story. I feel like it could be cool if it changes. I know it's nice to know that there's always an evil team and rival in every new game, but maybe they could try something else. Maybe make the evil team and rival more meaningful and menacing, and not just there for the sake of being there. Also, the story could maybe focus on the Pokemon world a lot more. After all, the Pokemon are one of, if not the most interesting and central parts of the series. Bugsnax really did this well, where the world was the central story. The characters all had their own stories, but it was affected by the world and the game. And the ending added even more depth to the story. Finally, gadgets and the different items you had in Bugsnax made you feel like you were an actual Bugsnax collector. You had to use different things based on the situation and the type of Bugsnax you were dealing with. You actually feel pretty smart when you figure out what you have to use to capture a Bugsnax. There is some of this in Pokemon, but not to this extent. Now I keep saying all this as if Pokemon can just copy everything from Bugsnax, but that's not really possible. These are two different games. I'm just using one game to show how you can improve the other one. Pokemon games can't just change their entire formula, and I wouldn't like that either. That's what spin-offs are for. But still, the improvements I'm talking about can be applied to the mainline games. But a spin-off where they do explore some very different mechanics could be amazing, like I said before. But at least they could build on their current mechanics. There are many other issues you could say the Pokemon games have, but these are just some ways to fix some of them. Obviously, the games are still pretty great and I like them too. I don't wanna sound like I'm hating on the games for the sake of hating on them. I'm just saying that these games could be better with some more innovative ideas. Thank you for watching. A comment would be cool and a like too. I'm gonna go listen to It's Bugsnax, a hit song on my Nokia now.